let's work with it.
Well, thanks again. I do appreciate that. Okay, well, we have arrived at the appointed time.
That's your,
Oh, do I have to do
got your
that?
hammer?
Nolan, I'm not going to be gentle. Brace yourself now. Okay, we've arrived at our appointed hour. We will have an opening by Councilmember Nolan Gunnell.
I will make a few comments. There's some crazy things going on in the world and in our United States. And I would petition you all to have thoughts and civility as you do anything with people, and also prayers. I think prayer is a very important part of our society. And with that, I would like to make my opening comments in the form of a prayer. Our Father in heaven, we come before thee at this time as we give thanks for this nation and the freedom which we enjoy. And we are thankful for those men and women who have provided this freedom and see that it happens daily for us now and in the present and in the past and in the future. We pray for civility, that as we deal with one another, we may do so in a kind manner. May we be kind to one another. We pray for the unrest and the things that are going on in this nation, that our leaders may be able to step forward and provide actions and things that will lessen the severity of things as we go forth, and that we may be civil in our dialogues. We pray that tonight we may be able to help in our roles as council members and be able to do the things which are right. We appreciate those who are attending with us, and we give thanks for these things and for this nation, and do so in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Just stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Nolan. This evening, we'd like to acknowledge the absence of our chair, Sandy Goodlander. She is traveling. And we have our newest member of council that is joining us this evening. We have Joanne Bennett, so welcome.
Thank you very much.
You'll get a hang of it. Any questions, just raise your hand. We'll totally help you along. So let's go ahead and I'll accept a motion for this evening's agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. The minutes of 1/13/2026, I'll accept a motion.
Move to approve the minutes of 1/3/26.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, the minutes of 1/13/2026, we'll vote, go ahead and, all those in favor say aye. Aye. And that's unanimous. Thank you. Now we will turn to the executive for any items that he may have.
This is the time when I provide for some information involving appointments. We have a whole list of committees. I think there's 26 or 27. Going through them, trying to determine whether I make the appointments or the council does, looking at the terms and all. It's a little bit of a jumble. We've asked for Andrew's help, and Janine and Andrew are working on getting that list. Eventually, we intend to place the list with the county clerk and have his help periodically. But at this point, I'm not ready to make any recommendations for appointment, though I acknowledge that many of the appointments expire on December 25th, and we'll just continue with those individuals and start dealing with those one group at a time.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, we have the next item, request for municipal development access to county roadways. Matt Phillips will address us for that item.
Matt Phillips, Public Works Director, Council. Well, I stood here back in July for about the same project. So for some that weren't here, I just wanted to go over a little bit of the background of the county code and kind of the request that's before the council tonight. Next slide. In the county code, in the county road manual, it says, any municipal development accessing county roadways, no municipal development shall be permitted to access a county roadway without the express written approval from the Cache County Council. So as part of our development, anytime a county development wants to access a city road, we require some kind of notification and approval from that city, and vice versa. If a city is doing a development and they want to access a county road, we require the county council to approve that development. So as part of the guidance for the council, in that policy of the county, it says it's the policy of the Cache County that no service shall be provided to a municipal developments from the county roadway unless extreme circumstances provide no alternate, and annexation or acceptance of ownership of the roadway by the municipality is not possible. So that kind of gives us a framework of what we're looking for. In this case, this road, the access is made by Blaine Hamlin. He's in the audience of Heritage Land Development. His proposal is to access for a new 41 lot subdivision, and the access he's requesting is in the city of River Heights on what we consider Highway 238. So, next slide. For Highway 238, it starts in Nibley, goes through Millville, goes through Providence, and it's highlighted on the screen up here in pink, and continues into Logan. That's the county road. Not a lot of history on that, but was the UDOT trade jurisdiction with 10th West, and the county ended up taking some jurisdiction of that in order to facilitate a trade of 10th West here in Logan. I have highlighted the proposed subdivision. Currently, there's no access to that. This would be a new access to the county road. Next one. Little, just kind of a zoom in of where the blue would be the proposed development, and you see the county road there. There's last time we came, what we were really looking for was some better feedback from River Heights of to why they can't take the road. It's already annexed in, it's already in the city, so there's some of that policy that we have doesn't really fit into what we're looking for. Since July, we haven't really got any hard feedback from the city of River Heights. I know I've attempted to set up some meetings with them and have those discussions, as I think there's a little bit more discussion needs to be had about the jurisdiction of that road, and is it in the best interest of the county to continue to maintain that road. However, back in October, there was a letter that came from the city attorney of River Heights to the development company, and in that letter they state, which I believe might be in your packet, but it states River Heights has acknowledged the county's ownership of 600 East and accordingly has no current plans to alter that arrangement. So while not direct communication with the county, they have expressed that they don't have any interest in taking that road, and so we're kind of back to that square one. Last time, if I'm not mistaken, the council kind of gave us direction to go try to work this out with the city, get a little more firm communication from them. But that has been 6 months, and so the developer has requested once again to petition the council for access to the county road. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a question, a couple of them actually. I've been asked by some citizens about this. I mean, we're trying to make growth in the cities where it's reasonable. This seems to be that. This will be in River Heights. They're going to benefit from these homes being in there, but yet we're going to be looking at the road and maintenance on there. Do you have any idea of what we're looking? I mean, we're still plowing it for snow and everything, is that correct?
Yes, we still do all the maintenance for that. I know there isn't a maintenance agreement, so sometimes there's not an exact of what the county's doing, what the cities are doing, sometimes signs, there's school zones, so there's a little bit of multi-jurisdictional going around there, but the main service we provide to this road is winter maintenance. would be the plowing.
Do you see much negative impact from 41 homes accessing this road? Because it's still traveled pretty heavily, right?
It is.
I think the nature of this situation is that using this road generates property taxes for River Heights, and we're maintaining it in River Heights. I know what the history of this road and how it ended up in our hands. It was a state highway, and it was part of a trade to get the state to finish 10th West, that we would take responsibility for this road. But it didn't say we'd do it forever. And I don't like putting the individual to try to develop this road between us and River Heights City, but there's no reason we should be doing this. We're not getting any, it's not a road we should maintain, and as we put more and more development on the road, there's less and less incentive for River Heights to pay anything for a road that we're operating for the benefit of River Heights. There's gonna be, 75 or 80 homes in this area using this road, which generates a significant amount of property tax and revenue to River Heights, which we will not receive, but we'll be maintaining the road. So I think permission should be given, but I think our permission should be conditioned upon making River Heights take over that portion of the road.
So normally we'll bring back a resolution that's voted on. Again, this was on the agenda for discussion items, so kind of looking for direction. I'm happy to go prepare something, happy to try to get more information from the city of River Heights. I'm happy to provide more information on the back history of the
I
road.
think it would be helpful if the council expressed their opinion about this matter so we can send it to River Heights with a council.
Agreed.
My opinion is we're holding a private landowner up for somebody not working and willing. I think it should go, but I think we also hold River Heights that this is crazy that they're benefiting and we're maintaining maintenance and everything else, but it's also crazy that landowner cannot proceed with what in true faith and good faith they've acted in buying it and doing everything else, so.
That's the problem.
So is the recommendation that once the development is finished, that they take it over, or what are we looking at for timeline?
Take it over
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, then afterwards, they're just out.
It doesn't ever
They
work
got
out.
everything they wanted.
Well, and meanwhile, all that construction and everything's gone on that road, so,
Is there only one ingress egress into that property? Are they gonna be using the drive or the other drive that's up there to the north? Carson?
There's only one ingress egress from the county road directly. The other one would come through the church's parking lot that you see just south and to the edge there. That's a
41
church.
homes on one ingress egress?
They were able to get access through the church parking lot for their secondary emergency access.
What?
isn't,
For 41 homes? We don't allow that in the county,
no.
only one access.
Planning is that?
I actually concur with, I feel like there's no way I could vote to approve this until River Heights takes ownership of the road. It's their road through their city. It's their parade route. It's whatever it may be, you know, that's their responsibility, and that's how it ought to be. So. and
Is
they-
there a River
they
Heights
can-
road next to this that we could pile up our snow as we plow the snow, so we block it?
I think the development probably would have went to a River Heights road that's under their jurisdiction, but they have no access to get to those. I don't know if they could go to Providence through one of those, but they're kind of landlocked with development around them, and
Is that Providence to the east?
the pink.
The pink is?
So has anybody in River Heights said reasoning why we're not moving? I mean, I have seen many communications between the developer and River Heights and that. It just seems like there's stalling going on.
I would say that's, part of that's probably fair, Nolan.
So I've heard a few people say we should grant permission, but River Heights should also take the road. So what are
Can
we
we-
advocating for?
Can we say permission given that River Heights takes the road? I mean, but that doesn't do any good because they gotta have the road.
Well, yeah,
And I'm happy to prepare something to that effect, Nolan, if you guys would like,
I
and
think
bring
we
that
should
back.
let them know the council wants this to happen. I mean, we encourage development in city
Say that,
limits.
but we can't, I can't stand behind saying we have given them any sort of permission to move forward if we're insisting it's not our road.
Yeah, it's too
We
bad the
don't- If
developer.
it's not our road, we don't have any position to take of approval.
So
Right.
if I can speak up there, I think if that's the direction the council wants to go, you'd have to relinquish the county's right to that road, and then under state code, it would revert to the municipality that it is in. And that way, River Heights would have to take ownership under state code, rather than the county being responsible for that. So
Then I
if
like
that's
that.
something the council
I like
wants.
that manner.
And I think that's the best way to do this, and then River Heights is in control of their own future and all of that. That's their neighborhood.
they're getting the road impact fees. I mean, they're getting, and if it's our road, that makes no sense.
So next time, put forth a resolution where we would vote on relinquishing that road. Is that the consensus?
The direction to staff?
So I don't want to put words in the attorney's, in what he said, but I do believe that the state code does say that if the county wants jurisdiction of that, it has to be a mutual agreement. So if the county decided that they didn't want to have any jurisdiction of that and they did a resolution as such, he's right, that jurisdiction would go back to River Heights, and I don't even know if that can be contested. But that's something else we could look at as well.
Another part of the road, the portion of the road that's in Millville, our road has been torn to pieces.
Yeah.
And with the promise that Millville would fix this road, and it's not fixed, and it's a mess. And so our road that was in good condition is now got cuts and digs and has got to have substantial work done on it. So I'd like to relinquish not only the portion that's in River Heights, but
There's my
Providence
point,
and
yeah.
Millville.
Go deeper.
So how do we, the question at hand is,
Give away
how do we
everyone's
not
road
hold
next
this
week.
developer hostage for this
Yeah.
stretch of road that we have greater issue with? Because they've been trying to develop this, and again, it's not wholly their fault because we have issue with a long stretch of road that continues into Millville.
Yeah, they're kind of caught in the crossfire.
I like Dean's message that we relinquish and we go deeper. I mean, we got Providence, we got Millville, we got the whole thing. How far can we go on relinquishing that? And they have to take it.
And if we feel it's not the county's road, or it shouldn't be the county's road responsibility, we're not the ones holding up the developer. River Heights should be taking it on, and should have from the beginning.
It
Well-
is a little deeper than that. What
Yeah.
actually happened on this is the state, this was a state road. The state said, we won't put money in to finish 10th West unless we get out of this road that's between these cities. So in order to get the money for 10th West, we agreed 15, 20 years ago, Mark, that we would take responsibility for this road. We've been doing that for 15 or 20 years, but we didn't agree that we would do it forever. Now, there is development all the way along the road. The cities have done this, and it's a burden to us to maintain. This is the worst example of us maintaining a road for the benefit of cities. We don't do it anywhere else.
So we need to
And
get
I
that.
agree that I don't like holding the developer hostage, but for now, I think we could at least say, we're not gonna get into this deeper and put more traffic on this road and not have any revenue to cover this cost.
If that's the case, we should probably take action sooner than later, because then we will be the ones delaying it if we don't relinquish the road soon.
Yeah, I think if you tonight said we direct our attorney to proceed with the process of relinquishing this, and we advise the cities that that's what we're doing, advise the developers that's what we're doing, and that we have no objection to the city before the relinquishment is final, that they give permission to use the road, and we would allow that. We get out of the business of stopping the developer at all.
Seems fair to me.
I like it.
You want that in the form of a motion?
No, that'll work.
Yeah.
Then I would move that we start that process to relinquish the responsibilities of that road in those municipalities.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Formal process.
Is there any further discussion on the motion?
Yes.
We have enough direction that you understand
Yes,
the motion?
yes, I will work with Matt and we'll get the process started.
Okay, we'll go ahead and vote on the motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And it was unanimous. Okay. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Dane, for the insight.
Thanks,
That
Dane.
helps.
Okay, moving on. We have the Behavioral Health Integration Plan, and Jordan Mathis has returned.
Jordan Mathis, Director of the Bear River Health Department. I won't rehash everything we went over last time, but we talked about moving forward with an integration plan. One of the things that was presented in that last presentation was the fact that it came at a ongoing cost of about $250,000 for the 3 counties that are part. The question came back, what is Cache County's ongoing requirement? So based off of population, 68.9% of that 250,000, which means it's $172,250. That'll be ongoing each year, moving forward, starting in 2027. So not this year, but we would be looking at how we would fill that void.
What was that number again, 172?
172,250. Making Box Elder County's portion 74,500 and Rich County's 3,250. So,
Not much.
I still say we judge Rich County in the summer, so
Yeah.
then we get more money.
they do have a lot of second homes. You work that out with Rich County and I'll be happy to do it.
I have a question about those funds, and maybe, I don't know if anybody would be able to answer this, but we had a discussion with the executive in the auditor's office about revisiting the levy that we have on the property tax for the health department.
Yeah, we're going to true that up so that all of the money that we provide for the health department comes through the levy.
Where this is for the behavioral health integration plan, could that amount be through that levy, or does it have to be coming from like our general?
No.
Fund.
So it would, this is actually to fill, if you remember, the reason we have this 250 is because we've been supplementing public health administration costs, and we will no longer have those contracts to draw down and pull administration costs from. So these will be directly for public health, but I believe the executive's plan was to look at not only the public health, but all the county match dollars for Medicaid and everything like that, because we will be administering those and putting that all under the levy so that it's fixed moving forward.
So this could be included into that because it will be
Yes.
in the public health levy.
Even if it was, it's
Yeah.
not, I'm just saying it's not part of the match or anything
Got
like
you.
that.
Okay. Thank you.
These dollars will not actually be going towards the public health integration. They'll be going to make up the void that was left because of the exit of
Yes.
those
Okay.
contracts.
Thank you.
So was this under our responsibility as being the mental health authority or responsibility of Bear River Health?
Bear River Health.
Both.
So
Both.
it'd be under the this burden right here is under the responsibility of 26A, which is the Local Health Department Act. And every county has to either have a health department or be part of a health department. So that's the administration cost that you'd be bearing for the health department.
Thank you.
And we do have some time, at least half of the year to
Yeah,
work this through.
yep.
Start collecting our aluminum cans now.
Did you go to the other counties yet, or is
Diet Coke right here.
that coming soon? So I did go to Box Elder County, and we took their numbers after you asked for it. I said, well, that's probably good to take, and we took the numbers to them, and they voted in favor of it. Rich County only meets once a month, and we're on next week with Rich County. So
Well, I would move that we approve this and move forward with this proposal and to start working it out in our next budget openings.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Thank you, Jordan. Thanks for coming back. We appreciate that.
Take the rest of the night off.
No, stick here with us, have fun.
Okay, let's move on to the next item, to schedule public hearings. I'll accept a motion to schedule the 3 public hearings.
I will make a motion that we set a public hearing February 10th, 5:30 for ordinance 2026-04 Mountain Manor Springs 2 rezone. Ordinance 2026-05 amendment to Cache County Code regarding frontage and access regulations. Ordinance 2026-06 amendment to Cache County Code regarding subdivision and subdivision amendment standards.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna say it's close enough to 5:30 to go ahead and move on with our public hearings that we have scheduled for this evening. We have various. We'll go ahead and start with the cemetery maintenance district vacancies. Should we do each maintenance district at?
I have a presentation.
Oh, okay, thanks. We'll go ahead, Andrew will educate us.
Good evening, council. So one of the responsibilities that you hold in appointments in terms of special service districts is that of all of the boards for several different cemetery maintenance districts. A lot of them have staggered terms, a lot of them don't. That being said, a good number of them had their terms expire on December 31st, 2025. Right now, those who had their terms expired continue to serve as is until they have a replacement, so there's not any immediate need for replacement, but it ought to be done rather soon. So there are several different vacancies, as you can see from the seven different cemetery maintenance districts. That being said, a notice was sent out for a notice of vacancy was sent out for 30 days. Responses were received. I made several phone calls, sent out dozens of letters, and so at the end of this process, there was only one that did not receive enough applicants to fill all the spots, but we'll figure that one out with the Cornish Cemetery Maintenance District. But beyond that, the rest of them have received a sufficient amount of applications for all of their vacancies. If you guys will see the form that was handed out to you, it's purple at the top. So that is a list of all of the respondents to each of their respective districts. As we move through the public hearing portion and hear each applicant as listed, if you want to indicate which one you have a preference of, there's only 2 that have more applicants than spots to fill. So if you want to give that back to me at the very end, I can have an idea of what names to prepare for when the next county council meeting occurs. Unless you guys would like to try and just appoint tonight, but I would recommend against it. I would recommend waiting till the February 10th meeting. That being said, I would advise that you move through each of these maintenance districts with each of the listed applicants and then go from there.
Okay, thank you, Andrew.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. How many people are on each district? Is it they all the same, or like?
So it depends.
The number here.
Some
I saw the number, but how many?
have 3,
Vacancies.
others have 5. For example, Avon has 5, where.
That's all of them being put back in.
Yes, but with those where the entire board is up for reappointment, the resolution that I've written as is, you guys are more than welcome to amend it. The way I've written it is it separates out each individual into a 4-year or a 2-year term. That way they're truly staggered. It's a requirement of state law that they be approximately half be up for reappointment every 2 years.
Okay. Any further questions for Andrew?
Can I be honest? I don't know a lot of these people, so how do we sit and vote on these unless?
Well, we're gonna have our public hearing now,
Hearings for.
and many of them may be here.
So most of them are gonna tell us why they love this job, right?
Why they want this awesome job.
You can ask them where they see
Now, he
themselves in
did,
10 years.
did he say 4-year term or 40? We could really take care of this for a while tonight.
But I will add that the
I was
work
trying
that
to-
these people do is very
I was trying
important.
to give you more years on this earth, okay?
So what you're saying, whether they're above ground or below ground, they have to serve, right?
So in the right place.
Oversee the cemetery till you're part of it.
Yes. And even after.
But yes, as Dave was pointing out, a lot of these people have served on these boards for quite a number of years. The work is very important, so have at it.
Thank you, Andrew. So just as housekeeping goes, we'll go ahead and have a public hearing for each cemetery district and give everybody a chance for each district to, for those that are here to speak concerning each district. So we'll start with the Avon Cemetery Maintenance, by motion. We can, no? Okay, we can go ahead and start with the Avon Cemetery Maintenance District. If anybody's here to speak to the Avon Cemetery Maintenance District, you can come and direct us, state your name and where you live, and speak to us here at,
It looks like we have,
you, take turns. You're welcome to take
looks like
turns.
we
to
have
come.
5 applicants and 5 vacancies.
Yes.
So you guys can fight over 4 or 2 years.
I will note that a good number of people reached out and said that they had other obligations tonight, could not make it.
Okay, thanks, Andrew.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Michelle Watkins. I have served for the past 3 years as the Avon Cemetery Treasurer, and I'm happy to continue in that capacity. I have learned the job now the last 3 years, so that's all I have to say.
Thank you for your service. Does anybody have any questions for Michelle while she's here? Okay, thank you. Appreciate your service.
I'm Kirsten Knowles, and I have served as various positions since probably 2018. I currently am the clerk of the Avon Cemetery, and it's kind of my favorite place in Avon, as weird as that is. So I'd also like to continue to serve.
Thank you. Thank you again for your service.
I'm Jim Atkinson. I live in Avon. I've lived there for 8.5 years, and I just heard that this was an opening. There was an opening. Doesn't sound like there is, but I'd like to be considered. I have many relatives that are buried in the cemetery, and it's a family tradition that my great-grandmother actually chose the place for the cemetery in Avon. My grandmother was raised in Avon, and anyway, I wasn't planning on ending up there, but that's where I live now, so I've been there for 8.5 years, but I'd like to be considered.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Questions? Okay. Anyone else to speak to the Avon Cemetery Maintenance District?
Do we want to close the public hearing on each one of those, or just go ahead and
Maybe just
move
one
on
at the
through?
end. Maybe
Okay.
one at the end. We'll move on to the Cornish Cemetery Maintenance District.
Council Executive, Dale Buxton, I'm one of the members now. We have 3, and it looks like we're gonna have to do a better job of arm twisting to get the other one to fill that slot. So that's, but I'm happy to continue. We've got some good things happening, we think, so. And I know that Kyle Pitcher is also on that list. He would be more than willing to continue. And I think if you want to stagger the terms, Andrew, you can flip a coin to see who gets the long term, and not 40 years. Erickson. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, anyone else to speak to Cornish? That's it. Okay, moving on to the Hyde Park Cemetery Maintenance District.
I'm Brian Balls from Hyde Park. Been a resident my whole life, about 6 generations, related to most of the cemetery. I've been on the cemetery board as the president for at least 20 years. I'm not even sure how much longer, somewhere between there and 25. But I want to continue. We've got a good board and good little town. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Cody Johnson, and I'm a lifelong resident of Hyde Park also. And I've been on the board for 6 or 7 years, and we've done a lot of good things at the cemetery. So look forward to having more come.
Thank you. Thanks for your service. Okay, anyone else that would like to speak to the Hyde Park Cemetery Maintenance District? Okay, we'll continue. The Millville Nibley Cemetery Maintenance District.
My name's Randy Feeser. I've been living in Nibley over 40 years. In the past, I served on the board for 6 years, and I wasn't available for the last couple of years, but I want to make myself available now. But there's one thing I do want to say. I think even though Jim Jensen isn't here tonight, I think it's imperative that Jim gets back on there again. He's got 30 years on the board right now, and he's got more stuff in his mind than what's recorded in the notes and everything else. He needs to be in there, and I would also suggest that Danny Ames also gets put back on again. He's done an excellent job for the last couple of years. There's one slot open yet. I don't know who else is put in, but like I said, I'm willing to serve again if possible.
Thanks, Randy. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dan Ames from the live in Nibley. I've been on the board for the last 4 years, and it's actually in this crazy world that we live in. The cemetery is one of my favorite places, and we like to keep it clean, keep it green, and it's just a special place for me, and I'd like to be reconsidered or considered to stay on there with Jim and get a new member of your choice, and keep going, because I know now more people in the cemetery than I know in Nibley or Melville. I know where they live, so thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm not quite as old as Dan, so I still know more people above ground than below ground, but that's good, Dan. My name's Jim Christensen. I have lived in Millville for about 35 years, or south of Millville, out by the Coyote Farm. I don't know what a cemetery board does, but I'm anxious to serve, and I would love to serve. I've owned several businesses around town, currently own the Costa Vidas here, and just anxious to be more involved if I can. Hope you'll consider me.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kim Ashcroft, and I'm not nearly as old as these guys, but I've been in Millville for about 30 years, and I've been asked by the board to serve for many years, and I never had the time before, but I just recently retired about a year and a half ago, and now I have the time, and I just think I can fulfill the needs and what goes on with the cemetery. But you know, honestly, there isn't a bad choice here, to be honest with you, with any of these guys. Anybody that's willing to put their name out there and volunteer for a service that is not committed, I take my hat off to anybody that's willing to do that. And I ran for mayor for Millville and stuff like that, and I lost by 34 votes or so, but you know what? I'm just out there for the community now because the community welcomed me in 30 years ago, and now I want to return that back to the community.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to the Millville Nibley Cemetery Maintenance District? Okay. Newton Cemetery Maintenance District. Seeing no one, we'll go from Newton to Paradise. Anybody here who'd like to speak to the Paradise? Okay, no one. Will Richmond? No one from Richmond. I'll accept a motion to close this portion, this public hearing.
Close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, that was unanimous. Thank you for everyone that is willing to serve. We really appreciate how many people have put their names in to do this. I spoke to some that are interested in serving in Nibley, Millville Cemetery Maintenance District, and they said, they put it really well. They said, we'd like to keep it beautiful, maintain it, and bury our loved ones with dignity. And I thought that that was a really good mission for what they do. So thank you again for those that are willing to serve. We'll move on to the next public hearing that we have scheduled, and that is for ordinance 2026-01, and that's the Dutson rezone. And we will have, thank you, we'll have Steve.
Good evening. Brian Abbott, Interim Director of Development Services.
Brian, sorry.
So first item tonight, Dutson rezone. As you can see, it's located just north of Newton on the road to Newton Dam. Currently used for agricultural purposes. A brief overview. The rezone request is to rezone 15 acres from agricultural A10 to rural RU2. It's located just under a half mile north of the Newton boundary. The max potential of 7 lots in the RU2 zone. The nearest rural to RU2 zone is approximately 7 miles southeast of the subject property in Birch Hollow rezone. That's just west of Smithfield. It's not located within a future annexation area of municipality. The Newton Town is opposed to the rezone, and 2 other public comments opposed to the rezone were received. As you can see, the surrounding area around it is all A10. My paper's here, sorry about that. The Planning Commission recommendation, we had a public hearing December 4th, 2025. The Planning Commission recommended denial of the rezone to the County Council on a 6-0 vote. Any questions on that?
Yeah, if you could please just explain their reasoning as why they wanted to deny it.
Yes. They felt like that they wanted to keep the A10, and this was kind of too far away from the city in the middle of agriculture to go ahead and approve it.
Okay, any questions for staff?
Open the public hearing, we can come back to them.
Okay, go ahead and open the public hearing. Anyone who's here to speak to the Dutson rezone, go ahead and please state your name and where you live.
I'm Paul Dutson, the owner of that land. They messed up. They put down that I want 7 homes. It was actually only supposed to be 3. And so I just want to rezone it, keep it as agriculture, but I want to build on a quarter, and then my brother builds on a quarter of it. And so to keep it that way, we had to change it a bit. And there's land all up and down that's not in Newton City that is for sale. But that's by the Griffin family is selling some. There's other lots up there for sale that's been there for over probably a year for sale. And they're trying to do the same thing, put homes. They're selling their lots for like half acre lots to an acre lot. So pretty much this. And so the farmer who farms my land, I've already told him he can still farm it. I'm just going to take a little piece of it so it can still stay in farmland and all that. And I'm good friends with him. His name's Kelly Griffin. So kind of why they denied it, because it said that it had 7 homes. I didn't have my markers correctly where the land is. Needed to clean that up, and so I've done that and stuff. And got the surveyors out there. And so.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
Can he put this on the computer thing to show that? Kind of what I had in mind, what I was going to do.
We have to consider the application that we have that's gone through the Planning and Zoning Commission. So that's what's before us this evening.
Okay. Well, thanks for your time.
I have a question.
Oh, yes, Joanne.
Could you apply later, another time with the correct information? Is that an option you have?
Yes, I can, yeah. Yeah, Colin just told me to just finish it out.
Okay.
Said if they don't approve it, then we can just go to the next whatever
Planning and
zone,
zoning.
whatever it is.
Okay.
And that's for like 5 homes, so.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comment for the Dutton rezone? Motion to close?
I make a motion, we close public hearing.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. Moving on to ordinance 2026-02, amendment to the Cache County Code to update RU2, RU5 zone standards. Ryan Abbott, thank you.
Thank you. So this is ordinance amendment 1708.030. Some background on this. The County Council and Planning Commission held 2 workshops, October 30th and November 17th in 2025, regarding the subdivision moratorium and proposed ordinance changes. One item of discussion was to establish a distance-based restriction on rezone applications relative to municipal boundaries. Higher density zones are more likely to be approved if adjacent to or within a close proximity to a city boundary. So right now, this is our current ordinance. It allows for densities of 1 lot for every 2 acres of net developable acreage. This is the current ordinance for a rural 5 zone. It allows for densities of 1 lot for every 5 acres of net developable acreage. Some of the issues with this is under the current code, the purpose statement for RU2 and RU5 zones does not provide adequate direction for evaluation of rezone requests to higher density residential zone. There's some potential for inconsistent recommendations and approvals of rezone applications, and makes it difficult for staff to provide clear guidance to property owners looking to rezone. So we would like to include more specific criteria for higher density rezones, specifically adding a measurable distance restriction. The nearest property line for a rezone request to the RU2 zone must be within a quarter mile linear distance from the border of a municipality. The nearest property line for a rezone request to the RU5 zone must be within a half-mile linear distance from the border of a municipality. What we hope this would fix, it would allow some flexibility for rezones that would result in smaller subdivisions. A rezone request may be submitted when the subject properties are not within the required distance only if the maximum number of lots that could be subdivided with the approved rezone is 3 or less. The potential lot limitation applies equally to RU2 and RU5 zones. Density calculations for parcels in RU2 and RU5 zones are based on the net developable acreage, not the gross acreage. So here we have the same ordinance we looked at previously, but now we've added some additional language, number 4. It says for properties to submit a rezone request for the RU2 zone, the nearest property line of the parcels under consideration must be within 1/4 mile linear distance from the borders of a municipality. However, an applicant may submit a rezone request if the parcels are not within the required distance, only if the maximum number of lots that could be subdivided in the parcel is 3 or less. And this, basically the same language for the RU5, only instead of the 1/4 mile, it's a 1/2 mile, the distance there. This went to Planning Commission December 4th, 2025. Planning Commission recommended approval of the ordinance amendment to the County Council on a vote of 6 in favor and 0 against.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and open the public hearing for the amendment to Cache County Code to update RU2, RU5 zone standards.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on. We're ordinance 2026-03, amendment to Cache County Code to allow for canal setback exemption and increasing lot coverage in the commercial zone.
Yeah, thank you. So some background on this. During a recent Planning Commission meeting, staff was asked to review the current development standards for commercial lot coverage and the required setback from the top of an irrigation canal to any fence or structure. Specifically, the request was to bring back suggested code changes to increase the allowable lot coverage in commercial zones and to provide an exemption for the required setback from a canal. So as it is right now, down towards the bottom, you can see maximum lot coverage, and in a commercial zone, that's 50%. The lot parcel coverage includes the percentage of the area of a lot or parcel which is occupied by all buildings, other impervious surfaces, or other covered structures. In 2023, ordinance number 2023-26 was approved to increase the lot coverage in the industrial zone from 50% to 80%. This change helped facilitate the flour mill project just outside of Richmond. The Planning Commission felt the maximum lot coverage between commercial and industrial zones should be more closely aligned. So here's our proposed change. If you look to the commercial zone, C, maximum lot coverage would increase to 70%. Planning Commission recommended the approval of this, and recommendation was based on lot coverage in other jurisdictions as well as how they envisioned future commercial development in unincorporated areas. They kind of wanted a distinction between industrial and commercial and just a bit of a more of a buffer on commercial than industrial to help keep it that kind of the feel of being out in the county. So here is the proposed change. Or no, excuse me, that's it for that one. Sorry. So I'll now move on to the setback from irrigation canals. As it is now, we're 16.5 feet from a top of a recognized irrigation canal bank to any structure or fence. It's the same in any zone, no matter what. What we'd like to do, the concern Planning Commission had with this required 16.5-foot setback was that the code did not provide an exemption, even if the canal company approved it. The origins of the 16.5-foot setback in Chapter 17 are not known, but it is larger than the required 10-foot setback in Chapter 8, titled Access to Property and Setbacks. Chapter 8.28 addresses weed control and requires a minimum setback of 10 feet from an irrigation canal to allow the Public Works Vegetation Department access for maintenance and noxious weed control. So here's the new change that we propose. It's similar to what we just saw, but there is a little footnote 7 and the Planning Commission recommended maintaining the 16.5-foot required setback, but allowing an exception And that exemption reads, an exemption to the setback may be allowed if the board or other entity governing the recognized irrigation canal agrees to the reduced setback and provides written approval. This written approval must then be turned in by the applicant to the Development Services Department at the time of the zoning clearance application. Planning Commission heard this on December 4th, 2025, after a public hearing on the combined 17.10 ordinance amendment. The Planning Commission voted 6 in favor and 0 against, recommending approval to the County Council to amend the code allowing for canal setback exemption and increasing the lot coverage in the commercial zone.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I just had a question about what the process is like. So if someone applies, they get approved for the commercial zone, and how long do they have before their building has to, or their buildings have to be 70% coverage, and what's the penalty if they're not meeting that requirement?
Oh, they don't have to meet that requirement. It's now, instead of only being able to use 50% of their lot and covering it with asphalt, cement, buildings, or coverings, now they can use up to 70%.
Up to, okay.
Yeah, that's the maximum. There's no minimum.
The other way of saying it is we're requiring 30% open space.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks.
Anything else?
Okay. Thank you. Okay, public hearing is now open for ordinance 2026-03, amendment to the Cache County Code to allow for canal setback exemption and increasing lot coverage in the commercial zone.
Chris Chambers, Smithfield. I come in and applied for a commercial rezone. I went to the county. They told me I'm putting some storage sheds up. I got approved for the commercial, and then I didn't know that the 50% coverage, and so I went back, and talking to Nate Doggs, and he says we're trying to get that changed to the same as commercial as 80/20. He says just keep moving forward, so I did. Well, I moved forward, and I've got the development. I mean, I've got my plans all done. I've spent $25,000 in all my stuff to get done, and with this 70/30 on my particular piece, I'm at 75/25. So what do I do? I mean, I can't afford to go in and change my engineering for what little bit that is on my particular piece, and I've already got my 30-foot setbacks, and so do I leave a piece of asphalt open and not put asphalt in front of my storage sheds to meet that requirement? Or, if it was at 80/20, I'm fine. But I feel like if I maintain it and I got my storm water taken care of, and I'm putting storage units and some covered RV parking. And if I went into commercial, if I could go that fast, I wouldn't have to cover my RV parking. It's allowed in industrial, but not commercial. But I wanted to cover covered RV parking, so I went with commercial. So I recommend we do the 80/20. It's the same. I mean, most cities are 80/20 or 90/10. They're the same. Commercial and industrial are the same in most cities. So, and what I had a problem with when I come to planning and zoning is they give no reasoning. They just said it needs to be different. It needs to be different. And I have a hard time with that. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Any other comment?
Move to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Second. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. That ends the public hearing portion of our meeting this evening. We'll move on to the initial proposals for consideration of action. Starting with the ordinance 2026-01, the Dutson rezone. So, go ahead and open that up for discussion.
Yeah, so I read the notes on it, and I mean, we have to treat the application as it is, and there were a lot of reasons the planning commission denied it. One was that it didn't meet the RU2 standards, it wasn't consistent with the general plan, and the nearest RU2 was more than 7 miles away.
Yeah.
So, and the letters that we received were against it, so. From my perspective, it'd be hard to justify approving this one.
Looks like he's been advised to go ahead and reapply with the right application to be more in line with what he wants to do with his parcel as well.
So I think the sooner we deny it, the sooner the reapplication process can start, so I would move that we suspend the rules and deny ordinance 2026-01, the Dutson rezone.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
Yeah, this would also, any change though, if he comes back, he still probably has a zoning change in order to even get the 3 lots probably. And so this, what we're talking about, these other RU2, RU5 standards will also apply as we talk about that too, so that might have some impact, but I agree with what you're doing right now.
You can't put 3 homes on it because it's a 5-acre lot.
Yeah, and we'll just probably direct you to work with staff on getting your questions answered, yeah. Okay, okay. All those in favor for denying ordinance 2026-01, the Dutson rezone, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Moving on, we will move to ordinance 2026-02, amendment to Cache County Code to update RU2, RU5 zone standards. I think there's a lot more that we can discuss on this. There's a lot to digest with this. We've been working on this for some time, but I think there's a lot to digest. So if there is no motion to do anything today, we just go ahead and continue it.
I think we're heading the right direction with it. I think that, you know, those, when you're making those finite definitions in that, I think that it'll be very self-explanatory and there will be less arbitrary, capricious kind of decisions that'll be made if we have, hey, here's the line. And I think you're gonna be better off down the road. So, but I'm willing also to digest it for the next couple of weeks and talk about it again, so.
This is primarily driven by infrastructure, right? Yeah.
I'm willing to put a motion before.
I remember very vivid that, you know, the RU2, RU5 and how they came about and how that's evolved and I remember it was just kind of put together for the little corner of the pivots in agriculture land that they could still, you know, and do a cluster. I don't know. That's so I remember talking about that and how that came about, but it has really blossomed since. So I think we're heading the right track by narrowing it up like that.
Did they talk about where the 1/4 mile and the 1/2 mile distances came from? How those were determined?
Yes.
We talked, a lot of that was even our discussion when that came up in our discussions.
I'm trying to remember.
In previous thing, the only thing was kind of a guideline that RU2s would be near a municipality. Define near, and that's what we put a burden on the staff to say what is near.
Okay.
And so taking that burden and drawing it down and trying to keep our cost of providing municipal services as far as road, snow removal, everything else, and everything from the county. This is where Planning Commission came to. It was talked quite a bit, and also council was involved in there on workshops. And that's how we came to it, if that helps.
Yeah, thanks.
I had a question on it, so if we are, I mean, if we're gonna continue to workshop it, I can ask these questions of staff later and get it clarified. If we're moving to a vote, then I have a couple things I'd like to specifically ask.
Our next meeting would be
Good discussion.
February 10th?
Yes, ma'am.
So we'd have 2 full weeks to work some of these questions out, depending on what the preference of the council is.
Yeah, if Nolan's willing to hold his horses, I think we'll.
Horses, I think.
I think the planning commission has done a good job. I don't want to, I mean, I'll go ahead and make the motion. I make a motion, we approve ordinance 2026-02. You guys can decide where to go from there, but I've sat through many meetings on this, and it is not an easy one to answer. And so the planning commission has tried to go through those things and listened, and so that's where I'm coming from. That is my motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the table.
I'd support that and second it.
And a second. Okay, so any further discussion, Mark?
Yeah, so the ordinance as written reads,
I need to suspend the rules on that, so my apologies.
Excuse me?
I didn't suspend the rules.
And you want to suspend the rules? Okay, so the motion is to suspend the rules. Does your second still stand?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so the second still stands. Mark?
okay, thank you. So where we're talking about defining the quarter mile or half mile, and I'm totally on board with moving forward with something that we're looking at, but the way the ordinance is written, it says, the parcel under consideration must be within 1/4 mile linear distance from the borders of a municipality. And the question that brings to mind is, what if this parcel is closer to a different municipality currently than it would be in the future annexation boundaries that have been discussed between cities? And therefore, it would be not closer, or it would be within a municipality, but not the municipality it would be annexed into if annexed.
Well, and as with any subdivision, the planning and zoning or the department sends out notices to the communities of which it's next to or going to be involved in their annexation process, and that community has at that time the
Sure.
right to send in a letter.
Right, understood. But do we want to leave the code up to that to say that it would be a municipality, not the, I'm looking for respect in our code to the annexation boundary agreements that exist, is really where I'm going with it.
I think they apply anyway, because annexation is not the question here. You know?
Agreed. But it would mean that, a parcel is closer to the city that's not going to have it annexed in eventually, meaning there are instances where development's not going to bring property, other developed properties closer to, from the future city that this development could be in. So I just wonder if that has been taken into consideration at all by P&Z in that being left as near a municipality, not, the municipality that would be the future neighbor of this subdivision. It is very much in the weeds. It's very granular. I get that, but that is part of my question with it. I don't think it's a stop-all, just to ease the concerns that I'm hearing. I'm not saying I would vote no to this because of that. I just want to make sure we've covered everything we ought to be looking at in the planning. So.
I had a question too. It does say must, which is, I know this might be an attorney question between a must and a shall and a may. If it's a must, does that mean the council cannot approve it if it's not within a 1/4 mile? Or is that still our prerogative to approve it even if it doesn't meet that standard?
So must is gonna be treated the same as shall.
Okay.
So that takes away some discretion.
Do we want to make it a may, or are we confident on the must?
Well, if you go to what the legislature has told us, it is shall, not may. They changed it. And so we even talked to our legislatures about seeing if they would change that, and the answer has been not likely. So, if that helps.
We wouldn't be gaining much if you put may. I think we're back in the same.
Because we're beholden to the state standard, is that what
we're just,
I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think we'd have just a lot more gray decisions all the time.
But just to make sure I understand you correctly, Keegan, what you're saying is if a proposal was a 1/4 mile plus 1 foot,
That's what I'm getting at.
he would not be able to say yes.
Yeah, the way it's written now.
And we'd face that if we put 3/4 of a mile,
Agreed.
5 miles, or anything. So
Yeah, the challenges are all real, but that's our job, is to look at them.
I think that the Planning and Zoning Commission, I agree with Nolan, has worked very hard in trying to encourage and incentivize development in the municipalities, right? Because that's what we want. I just don't know if this is exactly, I don't know. We can always change it later, but.
My opinion is that we need to trust the planning and zoning because they have put in more than what we have or can put in even.
we have some good people on planning and zoning, and they've
Thank you, Troy.
vetted many things.
No question here, but I don't think, we should discount our prerogative and responsibility to do our own homework as well.
And that prerogative comes up in a vote.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a motion, is there any further discussion, any questions or further discussion? Yes, any further discussion? Okay, to suspend the rules and to, pass ordinance 2026-02. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Then it passes. Moving on, ordinance 2026-03, amendment to the Cache County Code to allow for canal setbacks exemption and increasing lot coverage in the commercial zone.
Can I ask for maybe Matt and Brian to give us some ideas of what Mr. Chambers addressed and what we're looking at here? I mean, how do we mitigate this or help or what we're looking at here? He talked about, rather than going to asphalt, going to gravel, but how much asphalt / gravel in order to meet 70 versus 75, am I correct?
Well, yeah, and Mike also is you're already defined on your commercial and your industrial on what you can put in there anyways. So you're already limited there. I mean, I qualify for both on both.
The only thing I would say is when you question somebody, you did question Nathan, and he's a good person, but those questions ought to come back to our Development Services Office
And that's,
rather than a commissioner.
well, and that's possibly true. I just was talked to Nate several.
And I appreciate you reaching out, so.
I mean, when I went to, I guess, when I went to the county to get the commercial, I asked them what to do, and they directed me to commercial. And with, when I went to the office there, they directed me to go to commercial, so that's what I did, that's what I passed. Then I find out later that it's 50/50 instead of 80/20, and then I talked to Nate about that, and they said, we're in the process of getting that changed. And he was in for 80/20, and so that's the route that I took, right or wrong, that's what I did.
Can we summarize what he said or invite him up here so the public knows what's going on?
To summarize, he put in an application when it was a different percentage. He found out the percentage was changing, that the commission was listening to it. The commission vetted it very deeply. Mr. Sands is here who could vouch that. And so he is wondering how that happens if we pass it, because that puts him in 5% out of that.
During his public comment, he asked a question that I'd like to come back to, which was, why is there a difference between industrial and commercial?
Yeah, they just wanted that distinction between the two zones. Like, if you go to the flour mill and, out by Pepperidge, that's 80/20. And a lot of people don't love how that looks.
Part of that discussion came down to is that's there. It's a great thing for the agriculture, it's a great thing for the county, but what we're seeing is a lot of trucks going into the flour mill don't have a parking or access to get into there, and it's intruding into traffic. And so that was some of the concerns that I recall as the commissioners voted it, or talked about it. And there was sides from on the commission, so it just happened to vote that way as to how they got to there.
Because I understand why industrial would be less restrictive. I wouldn't expect a lot of open space in an industrial zone.
Well, and then the other thing you look at is how many commercial zones and how many industrial zones do we have or put out in the outlying county, and then ask our fire department to keep up to all of that stuff too, so.
Sure.
So Matt's coming up to give us some more ideas, so.
Matt Phillips, Public Works Director. I know that when this was 50-50, the word in the code talks about pervious versus impervious surface. So from an engineering standpoint, we had these developments that were counting their roofs, they were counting some of their asphalt, but the gravel was considered not part of that calculation. So they were having, tracking, they were having more mud problems and all that. So they were putting in gravel as opposed to pavement to try to keep their lot coverage from exceeding that 50%. Didn't change the number of buildings, didn't change anything. And so that's one of the things that we've got back from engineering is engineering's gonna treat asphalt runoff from a stormwater perspective, from all those things, pretty much the same way we're gonna treat asphalt. So from a stormwater standpoint, impervious is a very fine line. So Mark mentioned, we're trying to keep open space or landscaping or something, but so to change that from a 50 to a 70 or even an 80 from what actually is getting built there, basically what you're allowing these, which are the majority of our commercial and those are storage sheds, you're allowing them to have a little cleaner facility to be able to pave that area in between their storage sheds versus having to leave it as gravel, which creates dust, which creates other hazards, runoff, erosion. So that's the engineering perspective. From a planning, I can't speak to, hey, do we want a little buffer? Do we want to keep some trees and landscaping? But from just that erosion perspective and what we're counting as impervious versus pervious, it all came down to what you classify gravel as. And at some point that was left into the interpretation of the director, so.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question to legal. Since Mr. Chambers had his application in and everything else, is there a way to grandfather him even though if we pass this based on what the planning commission did? Because 5%, I mean, if we go out there, I don't know that I could come up with 75 versus 80 on a 5% thing. So how do you, can you give us any guidance here?
I can't think of a way to grandfather him at this point, because at the time he applied, it was actually less.
It was 50-50.
He has plans, if it was something that was pre-existing and our zoning changed, then it'd be
More restrictive.
a pre-existing use, but where it's not even completed yet, and it was, we're under a more restrictive ordinance at this point. I just don't think there's any way to do that. Going back to the drawing board
And he put that in words that I liked and wanted to hear, so. I just didn't want to say it myself.
You're being like an attorney asking the question you already know the answer to.
No, I don't. I'm just looking for all avenues. I understand what Mr. Chambers gone through, but I understand what the planning commission went through too.
Sure.
But I'd like to know, I'd like to get a feel of the debate from 80 to 70.
Well, there was a debate. You have 7 commissioners. I think there were 6 there the night that voted. And it was very much a debate between them as to why the difference. And they felt, and the discussion was, for instance, the industrial zone of the flour mill and the concern about parking and access in there up at the flour mill brought them to the point of, okay, how we go. Matt got up and talked about the gravel versus the asphalt and what we're looking at there. And so you have 6 members who were there and 6 members who had ideas, and it came down to a vote. It's just that. There were some who have said, okay, I can see it being the same as industrial, but as it came out and they voted, it came out that they wanted the commercial and industrial to be a little bit different. Chris, am I hitting everything on point here?
Yeah, what's the point in having two different zones if they're the same?
If they're the same.
Exactly.
Trying to make some distinguishing.
So
Minor distinguishing.
they really dug into it to say, just like Chris said, if you're gonna have two zones, why not?
Well, and there are some things allowed in industrial that's not allowed in commercial.
The zone is more about the application and what's used, not
Yeah,
the
the
open
use-
space.
certain uses that-
Yeah.
But for example, the storage sheds are, if I'm not mistaken, are allowed in both.
So wouldn't that be the solution then, is to advise them to rezone to industrial, Mr. Chambers?
Well,
If-
now
if
you get
this
into
goes
question,
forward?
because most of our, this is a storage shed place, right? I think they're all commercial that we have zoned right now, because industrial brings in a different type of
Right.
area rather than what than a storage shed does.
Which is, to Mark's point of, there's more distinguishing factors than just the 80-20 or 70-30, which ergo, if they were both the same exactly in that regard, they would still be different in others. So that's not the primary characteristic that differentiates them.
It would be tough to vote in favor of an industrial zone in that area.
Right.
Right.
That would be really tough.
Right.
With what could be allowed.
Because then, yeah, because then.
Then
it
you
changes
open it up.
Potential future
Yep,
use.
exactly.
I personally feel like accomplishing the feel of it being open or different is maybe better accomplished through the setbacks requirements rather than the percent of open space requirement. I've always had an issue with that. You know, going back to before on the county council, but I would rather that we manage that, if you will, as an organization via the setback rather than the percentage. Because every parcel is gonna be shaped different and gonna lend itself differently to the application of open space anyway. Then also compounded by the type of use that's applied, so I think there's a better outcome for the open space feel accomplished by the setback rather than the open space percentage.
Well, and if we don't have any requirements of what has to be in that open space, like, were you asking that they put any type of, again, we go back to gravel or to,
Yeah, it's more just saying not something that's
yeah.
not letting water through. which
Not
is-
asking they plant grass or they put trees or they do something.
Yeah, if the restriction is arbitrary and it's like you have to have dirt clods there
Yeah.
instead, then it's like, are we really accomplishing what we set out to do?
If our intent is we want it to have a landscape berm or I don't know, I'm just saying, then we should say that.
Agreed.
This guy ain't gonna enforce them.
Well, I don't think we have to make a motion, so.
Can we separate the two out or is it all just one? Can we move on the canal set or the,
I'd say
Canal
let's
setbacks.
talk about it for a couple of
Canal
weeks. Let's kind of
setback.
ask some questions for a couple of weeks and then come to the decision at the next meeting.
Yeah, I just want to send an email that says what's the
Yeah.
compelling reason between the 70-30 and the 80-20, and if it's just to differentiate, that's insufficient for me. So, but I bet there's more to it.
Yeah, and I would also like to see if, because I don't think there's any, I haven't heard any dispute or conflict, I have none with the proposed canal setback. I'd like to see those separate line items in the future so that one's not
Yeah.
delayed or impacted by the other. But I don't know that we can take action on separating them the way it's listed. If we can, then maybe we do.
I know on the canal setback, that's kind of also a pretty solid number. And in reality, the right of way, maybe on the other side of the canal,
It's not a setback on both sides of the canal.
that's what it would be, setback on both sides. And, I find that kind of interesting because, the use point may be completely on the other side. And so you've got a 10, well, and that's why I say, he went back with a 10 feet where they could still get in there and maintain it for weeds and stuff, but
Yeah.
now you might increase that to another 6.5 feet of weeds, you know, so.
Yeah, I think the important part about that is that it's signed off on by the irrigation company.
The irrigation, yeah, they're the
Because
ones
there are
who,
segments.
their standards.
Of a canal I'm very familiar with where it would be perfectly fine, and most of it would be, but there are other segments where, based on the structure that's there or the contour of the landscape, the 16.5 feet has to be upheld, otherwise you can't get in there, so, I mean, or it becomes a other challenge, so. I like the ordinance as it is, but I just don't know if we can split it. I mean, if we can, I'd make the motion to approve the canal setbacks and hold off on the,
Can we amend it
lot,
to?
but I don't know if we can do that, because it's not listed. Maybe Andrew knows, is that
Can we amend it?
parliamentarian slash transparency question you can answer?
It's just a matter of just make a decision. I'm also willing to just give it a little bit more time. Talk about it for a couple weeks, then we can come to a decision unless someone's ready.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but you're going back, you're asking, it seems to me, you're going back and saying, defend your decision, commission, because it's a voted.
No, I'm just saying us take the 2 weeks. I
Okay,
think
'cause
they
I'm ready
vetted
to
it. They have
support
really
what the
vetted
commission
it.
did. I sat in the meeting and listened to them vet it like crazy, so.
I just don't know what difference is gonna happen in 2 weeks. Like, again, I think, do we wanna have some type of design standards? That would come later, right? Like, if they vetted it and they stand behind it, I'm fine with them saying 70% because it's commercial. And industrial is gonna be 80%, like, that's fine. If we wanna come with design standards, that comes later, right?
I don't know
That's a
if we can
discussion.
get into that.
I said if we want to,
Okay.
right? If that's something that we wanna do, that comes later.
To that point, that's why I like the setbacks being the way to manage open space, because those are hard and fast. You're either 30 feet or you're 35 feet, and there's no flexibility there, or question, 30 feet is 30 feet. But with the percentage, then it becomes, really, you're gonna require me to keep this 1/4 of an acre as barren weed hazard or something else I gotta maintain, et cetera. So that's why I like the setback, to your point. But I think that's gotta be codified, but we could change that later.
I don't know if I need 2 weeks.
Well, there's a saying in the farm world, but I'm not gonna say it, so. Yeah, so. Executive, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna make a general comment. We have to enforce these codes, and there is some discretion involved in that, because we probably have at any given point 2,000 or 3,000 code violations out there. I'm serious. You take all these technical requirements, and people who are caught, like this gentleman is, in a slightly different percentage, and he's this far along, he's not gonna be on the top of my enforcement list. But just be honest with you, we have to exercise some discretion here. And it kind of reads like Mosaic law, every precise thing. You talk about somebody's not within a 1/4 mile of a city, but they're a 1/4 mile and 2 feet. Come on. You know, let's understand that there is a little bit of give and take here. And you may say, no, I want everything enforced precisely the way that is. But I do have some discretion over which ones I choose to spend our county attorney time on. And I'm inclined to spend my time on those that are most important and not try and.
Well, and he is trying to get his application right now. That's the hard
Yeah.
part, is that getting the application, he has to show the open space and
Right.
so that.
And we're arguing about whether he has to put gravel or asphalt on a little corner.
Right.
The best thing to do is also
Yeah.
not to just, you put it basically in code, it is there, so that you're not picking winners and losers.
Yeah.
you know, if it ever comes to that point.
Right.
Because, so that you don't, so that discretion is a little more.
So that
finite.
the instances where you have to apply discretion are very, very limited. That's the goal.
And it is the goal, and we should be willing to do that. I mean,
Yep.
and given that, I think we would be able to work with Mr. Chambers even if we pass this. And so I'm gonna state and put a motion out, on ordinance 2026-03. I recommend approval. I suspend the rules.
There we
Sorry.
go. Suspend the rules. We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a second from Joanne. Any further discussion?
I would really like to entertain the idea of moving them both to 80/20, and then discussing setbacks at a later point.
Same.
That doesn't hold up the current issue in front of us, and we can more easily address the ability to be equitable with all citizens.
Okay, I guess we can go ahead and vote on it, though. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Aye, or nay?
2 opposed, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 to 2. Motion prevails.
Can I just say, I feel like the executive was emboldened because our auditor's not here right now.
Okay, resolution 2026-01. Appointments to the various Cache County Cemetery Maintenance Boards of Trustees. If I may ask to have another 2 weeks on this, I think that would be helpful for us that are making those decisions.
I would actually like to move on those that,
Yeah, do we have
on
to,
the ones that
Can we
they're,
separate some out?
there's some that aren't challenged, or
Yeah.
there's,
There were only
Yeah.
2 that were,
Can we separate some out then?
Yes,
Okay,
I
go
would.
ahead. Go ahead.
I would prefer that too.
I believe I would go ahead and accept the, 1, 2, 3, 4. Avon, right? We had 5 and 5.
Yep.
yeah, if it's,
I would go ahead and move to accept those appointments. This one here, do we have to suspend the rules on this one?
this is a resolution, so we should,
Yeah,
I think the proper parliamentary procedure, if you want to get down to it, would be to motion to amend, to insert XYZ names for any said district. You would say whoever has applied for the Avon Cemetery District is inserted in the resolution, and then go by that.
Do we have to suspend?
At the very end, once you've made all of the amendments of the names, then yes.
wasn't there also,
Suspension's required, that's
No,
discretion.
no, it's
No.
a resolution, not
It's a
an
resolution,
yeah,
so
that's
no.
what I'm wondering.
Okay, no.
wasn't there also a component of which positions are alternating? 'Cause
2
we
and
didn't-
4?
Yes.
So we'd have to take that into consideration
ones
as
we
well if
should
we move
wait
forward
on.
on it today, right?
and do they want us to appoint their 4 and their 2?
So, so state law says that it has to be assigned, has to be assigned via I think it says lot or random method, so
And they can.
That's what I
So
sit there
can
and
they
let
get that in
them,
their bylaws, in their
they
meeting?
can, and this is not against anyone.
Draw straws?
Yeah, this is not against any one specific special service district, but I have never seen it ever reported back as to who drew what years. So this way, it can be a direct assign, but it's up to you if that's what you would want.
well, I'm fine to assign, go ahead and accept those and then let them decide their 4 and 2s according to the personal
Different
circumstances.
of
Yeah.
how long they can serve.
Yeah.
With that, I move to approve the Avon Cemetery Maintenance District of the 5 applicants that have been, that have applied. We will accept 2. Now, let's wait. Should we wait on the Cornish one till you twist the arm of the other one, or?
Should we get these 2 in place?
Okay, then let's go ahead and I would go ahead to approve, Del Bucks and Kyle Pitcher on the Cornish one. And the 2 in Hyde Park, I would go ahead and approve Brian Balls and Cody Johnson on them. And I think the Millville one, there's too many, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Newton one, I think we're okay.
Yep.
I would go ahead and accept all 3 from the Newton. And I think Paradise had this.
Paradise is 3. yeah.
Yep.
Paradise, to accept the 3 from Paradise that have applied, and then we'll wait on the Richmond one.
Yep.
Okay?
Okay,
Does that
so-
make sense?
Yeah, can I second that?
You may.
Are you through? I didn't want to interrupt it, but if you're done, I will second it.
Okay, you're great. That's it. I
Okay.
am. Yeah, let's
So,
get moving on some of them.
Appointing all of these cemetery districts minus Millville, Nibley, and Richmond. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, thank you. We'll do the appointments for the other 2 in our next meeting. Resolution 2026-02, Champion Land Co. LLC Open Space Application. Is that Chris? Are you here? Oh, you're, and the proponent.
That's Chris, and that's Chris.
We have 2 Chris, the Chris's.
And so Angie put a brief presentation together that I think Andrew's going to pull up regarding this application. Of course, the applicant and their representative are both here tonight if you have other questions. Chris Sands, chairman of the COSAC, and we're pleased to bring another project for first round recommendation for approval to the county council. This one being the Champion Land Company LLC. Go ahead, next slide. This involves 3 non-contiguous parcels located slightly north and east of Clarkston, west of Trenton, and involves 242 acres. This is some premium dry farmland in Cache County. We have a lot of fantastic dry farmland, but a lot of high quality crops come off of these parcels and the surrounding parcels in this area, including wheat and safflower crops. The applicant wants to keep it an agricultural operation and is part of a multi-generational farm.
What in the flip was in that area to get Dirty Head Road and Stinky Creek Road?
Yeah.
It was, it is a long story, yeah.
I'll let Chris answer that question, but
Thanks,
I can tell you it predated the landfill out there, so.
So much easier when it's 7,000 east, you know, or something.
Well, it's gotta be a story there.
Okay, next slide, please.
All roads lead to the landfill.
Just a reminder, this is where we're at in the process for this application. So this is, has come to the county council for review with a recommendation of approval from the COSAC. And if approved tonight, then it'll move into the second round and we'll get more due diligence work from the applicant as well as from COSAC and their applicant's representative. Next slide, please, Andrew. And so just a summary of the review factors in our process. These are the total points for the different categories that were established as part of the legislation. And total possible of 100 points. Next slide, please. And then in terms of how it scored, how this project scored, ended up scoring a 40 out of 100. And so, as we've discussed before, not all projects, well, it is unlikely we'll ever have a project that'll hit 100. And even some of our most highly scored projects that we think highly of and that you have approved even through the second round are in the low 70s as far as scoring. So these particular parcels rate really high in terms of agriculture. Just as a comparison there, the Harris Farm project that was approved for funding had a score of 65, just as an example. Next slide, please. So just each of the categories: protect scenic vistas, 5.6 out of 15. It is a visible property, though it's not immediately adjacent to highly traveled corridors, but it's a beautiful part of the valley, gently rising landscape that can be seen from very long distances away. And next slide, please. And so it's not near a valley gateway, so it got a low score, 4.4 out of 15, but it can be seen from, say, for example, the northern gateway in Cache County, north of Richmond or between Richmond and Smithfield. If you look west, you're looking at this landscape. Next slide, please. The maintain agricultural course is where it scored the most, 11.2 out of 15. Again, it's because it's dry farm, it doesn't have some of the prime farm designations you might see on other agricultural lands that have that amenity. But it is highly productive farmland and grows some highly specialty crops. Next slide, please. Waterways, there aren't any perennial or intermittent streams on the property, but there are a number of swales through the property that would flow ephemerally or as a result of storm water or some snow melt. But they're not developed riparian areas, so this got a low score. Next slide is wildlife habitat, kind of middle of the road. There is abundant wildlife out there. We saw a number of deer when we were out there looking at the property that were meandering across the property. There's some other wildlife that's commonly seen on the property listed there on the slide. So next slide, please. Public access. It's not really near identified public access locations or travel ways, that sort of thing, but you can see all of these parcels primarily from Highway 142, I think it is, that is nearby, that connects between Clarkston and Trenton and Richmond. Next slide. Distinguishing factors, a 4.5 out of 10. A number of items were pointed out by COSAC members. The applicant was in the process, has applied for some of the additional funding and is also looking to apply for more. The property owner, though that's not really part of round one, they have expressed a large landowner contribution as part of the proposal, and so we'll see more about that in round two. And then, you know, this idea, which is really important, we feel, is to get conservation going in this part of the county. This project is likely to spur other adjacent landowners to be interested in the program, and so we can start multiplying the lands in this part of the county that are protected with conservation easements. So those are some of the distinguishing factors that folks pointed out. And then next slide, please. So, obviously, if the council agrees with the approval, you can go ahead and click on that if you want. This just shows some drone footage that one of our members helps us with on every single project. Justin, he's fantastic with being able to give you this kind of information that you can see how beautiful that part of the Cache County is. So next steps would be, if you recommend approval, the applicant will come in with the round two application information, and then we'll evaluate that and get down to brass tacks.
Just a couple of questions, Chris. What does that work out at 200,000 per acre?
That's about $1,000 per acre.
And
less than $1,000.
What is the market value of dry farmland like this in Cache Valley now?
I couldn't speak to that.
Changing dramatically. We're getting adjacent parcels there down the highway go for $10,000 an acre with no water. Those are smaller parcels that we're getting an average of over $3,000 now.
So we're really talking a relatively minor amount compared to its market value to freeze this land. And if you talk about getting a bunch of it, it really would protect quite a bit at a very small percentage of its market value. So I just think that's something to keep in mind, what the market value is versus what you're protecting.
And I was at the meeting, and would it be a fair characterization to say the COSAC was ambivalent because of the low score, but optimistic because of the cost per acre as well as the potential to have others involved?
Absolutely. I think those were key points for the unanimous decision.
Yeah.
I think it's a great deal.
Yeah.
I think it's an area that actually kind of has a deep heritage to our valley.
Yeah.
You know, in that part of the dry farm country, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that's been given into keeping the ground that had some erosion and totally changing the contour of everything and making it just a wonderful, productive place. And it didn't happen overnight. And it's from there's a lot of those area farmers over there. They really care about everything that's been put in by them and many generations back. So I think it speaks a lot more than just the picture that you show.
Yeah. Blood, sweat, and tears comes if you walk through the safflower crop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those panoramic images show you how much the landowners care about their land up there and how well they are taking care of their land up there.
When did you go out for a visit?
It was less than a month ago.
Yeah.
Still no snow up there.
Still.
Yeah, there's a.
Yeah.
It was cold. It was very cold.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Chris. Does anybody have any further questions for Chris or Chris?
No, I just thanks for the application.
I got a lot of questions.
Oh, we
for
have
this
another.
Chris, but-
Yes. Yeah, please come to the
If you
microphone.
I'd like to share a couple of photographs of the safflower plants in the summer, in July with you. Just pass them down. I'll
Okay.
put them up over here.
Okay.
My name is Debbie Van Noy. I'm with Utah Agricultural Land Trust. And I just want to mention what we perceive as the value of the area, aside from its cultural value. Grand Fondo and Little Red ride through Clarkston. So the public benefit is great in this very serene, beautiful agricultural area. We also know that the deer come down from the mountain behind Clarkston and they forage off of the harvested crops in that area. So, all agriculture benefits wildlife, and this is one property that does as well. I had never smelled safflower in bloom, and it is remarkably beautiful. This safflower is used for high-end birdseed. It's not used for cooking oil. It's a black seed, and it is sold worldwide, and this part of Utah is renowned for the safflower crop for wild birdseed. So, just a couple of points I wanted to mention. We think it's a beautiful area. I had never been to Clarkston until we explored this property, and I've grown to love that area. Highway 142 takes you into Richmond, and all of these properties can be seen from that location as they can from the Clarkston Cemetery. It's really a beautiful area.
I have a question
Sure.
for you. It is strikingly beautiful. Is it possible, without causing a problem, to have a trail somewhere in the area?
I think that could be a very interesting idea. The idea of flatland trails within our agricultural area, especially in...
Have to be located in an area where it doesn't interfere, but if you could put a trail through there so that people could see this view, it would not only be beautiful, it would provide additional support for what we're trying to do with
Absolutely.
open space that would tremendously help our efforts in the valley
The parking could be located in Clarkston, and that trail could meander up to the cemetery area with a view down to the safflower that's grown throughout the valley. It's not just on this property. Quite beautiful. And then whatever the route might be for a nice, easy trail for families to enjoy on the weekends or retired folks during the week. It is a beautiful area.
The landowner would feel comfortable with that.
Well, you know, that's the whole idea behind this project, is to let, you know, not only the farmer, but other people enjoy the property out there. And so I think that, you know, we'd have to come up with a plan, of course, but yeah, I think the trails in there is a great idea.
Plant safflower on both sides of that trail.
Yeah,
It'll keep people out.
That'll keep people right on the trail, I promise you.
I can vouch for
Even
that.
the dogs, it'll keep them right on the trail.
Chris, why don't, I mean, that would also increase their score tremendously in terms of how those things are scored. We really need to preserve some of these accesses, non-motorized, absolutely non-motorized, but make it a walking trail through that land would be.
And you've got the community right there. You could park them right there in Clarkston.
Yeah.
You have areas for that. And we believe that other ag landowners will come into this concept of protecting their land with conservation easements. As landowners are successful and the easements close, we expect more to come in and say, we're interested. We'd like to give this a try as well.
I have
Thank
a
you.
question.
Sure.
Can some of that be converted to edible products eventually, or?
That safflower?
Safflower.
Yeah.
Wheat.
Grow wheat.
Wheat.
Yeah, there's wheat,
Great wheat.
but
So safflower can be used for cooking oil also, but the market's just a little bit stronger, quite a bit stronger with bird food. So it's the same crop, though, but it's cooking oil or bird food.
Like alfalfa, safflower, this is the premier state in the union for safflower and for alfalfa, just because of the soil and the moisture levels and lack of moisture. The safflower just loves the Clarkston area and does very well in it. So
I just wonder how development around there would happen. It looks like there's no development for miles.
there's no water.
And so it's probably not really subject to a lot of development, is it? Say you didn't go with this.
Well, I would agree with you, but if you look at Cache Valley over the last 100 years, things change quickly. So as of right now, no, there's not development on that area, but I guess that's what we're trying to protect.
And correct me if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, development potential is something that COSAC takes into consideration. And
For sure, and I think that sentiment is reflected in probably the contribution that the county would be making. You know, it's going to be much less on this property than it would be in closer into some of the more urbanized areas. So it's a very forward-thinking project.
Thank you.
I'd never been around there in my life, but I drove around there today.
Oh, good.
And it is very beautiful. I actually have been there decades ago, but
yeah, I rode my bike out there for the Cache Valley Century, and even if the trail wasn't through the area, even if it was just on the shoulder of the road, like what we see in Garden City or something, that would be sufficient to enjoy that. So I just want to throw that out there too.
Yeah, if I could make a comment with that, so this parcel.
Do you mind, just for those that are at home, they can hear if you come to the microphone? Thank you.
Say all the things you need to say.
How much time you got? Christian Ravston, owner, Champion Farms. So this parcel we're looking at right now, it's off of that Highway 142, but there's about a 2 mile, we call it a fire lane, right, Matt? Fire lane, or fire road. So it's not paved or even gravelled or anything. It's just a dirt road but that's the access that for cyclists and things, that there's always people up in that area. That's the view. The road kind of ends right where we're standing right here, but that's the view from there. You can see all of Cache Valley from that area. So
Can't send the bikes down Stinky Road?
Well, do you want me to tell you where that comes from? People used to haul their dead cows out there years ago.
And just drop them?
Yeah. So, not anymore, though. Not
Feed the
anymore.
birds somehow and the varmints.
That's right.
Hey, go shoot the coyotes.
Yeah.
Eat them.
Yeah, so.
Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I would move that we pass resolution 2026-02 Champion Land Company LLC open space application, first round, allow it to go further.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming this evening. Your presentation. Thanks, Chris. Okay. Moving on to
By the way,
resolution.
that sounded like a challenge on your score that you kept saying. We're not allowed to get 100, huh?
That's right. We're still looking for that perfect project.
Yeah, spread the word. Tell your neighbors.
We're working hard to spread the word. Right?
Yes, thanks. Thank you. Resolution 2026-03, appointments to the Cache County Fire Protection District Board of Trustees. Andrew, are you going to present on that? About who we're recommending?
Good evening again, Council. So Resolution 2026-03 would be making two appointments to the Cache County Fire Protection District Board of Trustees. That's a mouthful. Since the mayors of Smithfield and Hiram that recently were replaced by two new mayors, Mr. Rudy of Smithfield and another Miller in Hiram. There became two openings on the district board. So that being said, a public notice was circulated for 30 days. And if I recall correctly, only two names were returned, and those were of the two new mayors of those respective cities. So this resolution would be appointing them to the Fire Protection District Board. And for some context, I did check with Eric Davis from our attorney's office, and he said that given provisions of Title 17B of state code, it would be the county council that would be making this appointment via resolution, since the county council is still technically the appointing authority. Do you guys have any questions?
Questions for Andrew? Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, call it, you be the chair, okay? I move to pass resolution 2026-03, the appointments of Aaron Rudy, Mayor of Smithfield, and Steve Miller, Mayor of Hiram, to fill those two spots on the Cache County Fire Protection District Board of Trustees.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Got lots of seconds.
Give it to Joanne.
Any further discussion on the names presented? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Okay. I think, did we forget to put Nolan's name in there instead of mine? Just kidding.
Remember, he showed up this time.
Yep. Early too, based on your threat.
He showed up to defend himself.
Okay, other business. We're gonna go ahead and kind of, we're still working on the council member committee and liaison assignment vacancies. It's kind of still a work in progress, right? Yep.
As of this morning, me and Janine are now going to be coordinating on figuring out who appoints what, when, where, and that should help more with the committee assignment specifically.
Okay, so that's still a work in progress. Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for your work on that.
Do we let Andrew know then, part of what interest we might have in?
And I think he does
Maintain
have that. I think he has that from our last meetings.
Okay.
But now we're just going to submit that with the executive's office on appointments.
We've kind of got some committees I appoint, some committees you appoint. Everything I appoint, you do consent and
Advice and consent.
advise and consent on. I
I
think
voted on those ones.
it would be helpful if Sandy were back and we took a global look at, first of all, Joanne is gonna be replacing Barbara, and I think we ought to take a look at where your interests are and where you'd like to serve, and in what capacity. There's some issues about voting versus non-voting that we need to talk about. So my suggestion is we might want to have a workshop and just kind of sit down and take a look at where your time's being spent and where you want to spend the time.
Are there some that maybe could be combined or something, or two? Are there some, do we really, we looked at it, are these committees, are there some that can actually be slimlined a little bit, you think? Okay. Keep that in mind too, I guess, as we're looking through it. Thank you.
We'll let you know about how far we get on that to see when we'll do the workshop on that. So that will be further communication from the council.
Before December.
Before December.
Yeah.
Start with, we don't have any other council business. It looks like we'll go to council member reports. Joanne, do you have anything to report?
I don't.
Well, welcome.
I just say thank you for all of you. You've been helpful in every turn, so thank you.
Well, you survived your first meeting, and it wasn't even that long, 2 hours. Well, maybe, depends how long Keegan talks. Keegan.
Well, thank you for that introduction.
Time. Live up to it.
I sent everyone an email with the amounts for
Yeah,
the
that's
greenbelt.
helpful, thank you.
Last meeting, I recommended we put COSAC in charge of that.
And the rules with that are if we don't use it in how many years, it goes back into the Leroy.
And it's not used, it's committed, so
Committed.
to clarify that, within 5 years.
5 years, it goes
Yeah.
back into Leroy McAllister? Leroy.
I'll see if we can get that on the agenda for next meeting, because I think we're all open to voting on that.
Thank you.
I took a tour of the warming center. Some of you got an email asking for funds, so Jordan and Trevor came with me. And the reason they're asking for funding is they want to, in order to have sufficient coverage, they've spilled out of the area that they're in, and the church has graciously offered upstairs, but they need staff at night to man that. I obviously told her, you know, that might not be in the budget, but one thing that we did talk about after was they don't have a commercial kitchen, so all the meals are being provided by USU Food Science. They're donating them, and then they heat them up in the microwave. And as you can imagine, that creates a big queue because they can only do one at a time. We do have a commercial kitchen with the senior center.
2 blocks away.
So that might be, if we can't donate money, we may be able to make an in-kind donation by lending our resources in that regard. So I just wanted to float that out there as a possibility. And then one of us should probably do a Day on the Hill recap, but I think my time's up, so
Yeah.
I will leave that to someone else.
Thank you, Keegan.
I don't have much unless we had a great discussion on the RU2, RU5 and the subdivision thing. I'm wondering if council would like to have a workshop with planning commission and we really bed into this as we dig into it.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. We talked about in our meeting this morning, maybe February 10th would work, 3:30 for that. If they can make it with Planning and Zoning Commission.
We'd have to see. A lot of those have jobs that.
Yeah, see if they can make that, so. Or another
Brian, can you
time.
reach out to planning zoning commissioners and see?
If not, we'd have to do another evening.
I was gonna say, give them an alternative.
Yeah, another evening that, not right before a council meeting.
Right.
Just that we have a person who will be joining the planning office on February 1, isn't that right, Brian? 23rd. And she directed, her title's gonna be countywide planner. So it would be a good chance to talk to her and start thinking about our philosophy and how we want to express it in the ordinance. Our discussion today in my conference room about proximity to cities and how we deal with that. Lot of issues to discuss there. I think a workshop would be an ideal situation to start. I'd almost like to wait till she's here rather than try and restart that.
Have her
Okay.
come before and see if we like her.
Let her come and then let her join us for that discussion. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe we'll postpone this until we get new staff. Thanks,
Are
George.
planning and zoning, we still missing one?
Yes. No. We're full.
At 7.
We got 7.
Who
Right,
replaced?
Brian?
Yeah, we'll be full on the 23rd.
Yeah.
Okay. We had our day on the hill last Wednesday? Last Wednesday? Wait, Keegan, was there. Thank you, Keegan.
Yep. Thanks for setting up appointment.
Yes, Keegan, myself, Dave, Mark. We were joined by many of the other electeds. We had Bryson and Tennille and Craig and Matt. Yeah, and so we were able to kind of divide and conquer as we met with our legislators. I felt like it was really productive as we reiterated some of our priorities that we had and were able to get on, right in the front of their minds, being the DMV as one of our highest priorities. And thank you to Dave, who went down the following day to go and testify in their committee hearing to kind of share the impact that has had on us and how we need that space. And so thanks again. Thank you to Dave for taking that time to go down there. And we'll kind of just keep our eyes and our ears out for how some of those other bills are moving along to see the need to go down again. Other than that, I don't know if there's anything else that I need to share. Dave?
If you haven't signed up and participating in those Zoom calls with the different legislative committees, they're good. They really are. And they love to hear some ideas and feedback, and it keeps you abreast of what's happening. And there's a lot going on, but I think the workability in this legislature is actually pretty strong as far as just kind of working through some things. I don't think I think right now some of the egos have mellowed a little bit, and I think, like I say, the workability is actually strengthened right now. But it's only been a little over a week.
Yeah, they tried to humble Casey with the wooey thing.
Yeah,
I don't know
boy.
if it worked.
Yeah, it did. It did.
A little bit, yeah.
So, that, and then, I think everything else, I was gonna also mention, Friday mornings is the rural caucus down there. Anyone that would like to go down to that, holler. I'm happy to have someone jump in and go get a free breakfast and listen about all the rural issues throughout the whole state, us included. That's probably the best caucus down there that's held. So.
Dave, are you hearing anything about the property tax issues?
Yes. That's a hot issue.
Do we need to be putting people down there to address that?
That is all, yes, we are. That's quite, I know UAC, that is a very hot topic as we talk with that. We're keeping abreast with them, and we're not alone in that.
Oh, I know.
Major, that's really, our UAC representatives are really right on top of a lot of that stuff.
Are views being represented there?
We were very adamant when we spoke with our legislators that to avoid a one-size-fits-all kind of solution, that will not fit for all. So hopefully they will.
We do think there are problems with the truth in taxation methodology that if they would loosen it so it has some appreciation of inflation and growth in population, so that we weren't constantly looking like we're increasing taxes where we're just holding even. If there was a way to,
I think the bill, I can't remember the bill number, but the one with the 5% max, that one there, it's gained a little momentum. I know they talked about some of that today.
Senator McKay, his 5%
yeah, it's part of
cap.
his. But it's gained a little momentum, but yet there's a lot of people that are also speaking kind of the same way down there, saying, well, if you cap it at 5, then every
Every year it's gonna be 5%.
government entity will then pass it at 5, just to try to keep up with some sort of inflationary.
Yeah,
And that there has been added some pushback to that. And so, but that's still, there's a lot of discussion going on that.
yeah, the situation with 5% is when we're looking at a cost of living of 3.2 and a population increase of 3% a year, 5% doesn't cover my base.
Right, we explained that the ceiling would be the new floor.
Yeah.
We did request to, and did discuss potentially, not requiring a hearing if it was below or at inflation. Doesn't sound like there's an appetite for that. We did ask for maybe at least some coverage on a recommendation from the state saying this is, a reasonable number, just like we have a federal COLA. Seemed like there was a little bit of openness to that, but yeah, our local reps are very aware of where we stand on it, and they've at least expressed to us in meetings that they're looking out for that interest. So
Kurt and I are willing to go down. Kurt knows almost everybody down there still. We're willing to go down if you can tell us that we can make a difference.
And it would be good actually to get you down there and introduce you to a lot of those, the UAC players too, and our lobbyists and members of that. It'd be.
Could you help us pick which day you'd like us to do that?
Thursdays would probably be the best days to go. Thursday because we
morning.
have a meeting, a UAC meeting down there. So maybe next Thursday, keep it open and we could.
I can't do it this Thursday, but
So
the
maybe
following
next Thursday, we
yeah.
could try to go down and facilitate a meeting with.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. That's all I've got now.
Thanks, Dave. Mark?
Just quick update, at least of the things going on. The one thing I'd share would be the Cache County Library Board has met last week and the week before, so 2 meetings this year so far, with several assignments for board members accepted or made to work through the strategy that the board is implementing to work through the opportunity to find ways for funding and additional ways to strengthen and bolster the presence and operations thereof. So fundraising ideas, we've had 3 staff members have been involved from the county in answering the questions about how fundraising works for the library board as a government entity, et cetera. So those issues or questions have been answered and the direction is now in place. So there'll be some things coming up from the library as to what their actions will be, and there'll be a timeline probably shared at after our next board meeting that I'd be able to bring and share with this body. Accreditation is well underway, and there are some challenges there that we'll have to work through, but that'll come with that update in the next library board meeting, which will be the first week of February.
Thanks, Mark. Okay. If there's no more business, we will stand adjourned. Thank you.
it's up to the chair.
I have a chat with you about what you're doing and where we're going.
I don't think the vice chair is amenable to it either. But maybe some support.